I firmly believe that a person's Second Amendment rights should not be infringed because they're taking a medication to help an illness, an injury. Cannabis patients shouldn't have that right taken away from them.
Before we get into the video, quick reminder, we have a gun giveaway going on right now. Just click the link in the description down below to reveal which brand new gun you could win.
With doctors being able to prescribe Xanax and Klonopin, Percocet, Oxycontin, fentanyl, opiates, and the patients not having any type of restrictions on their Second Amendment rights, why not cannabis? You'll never understand the feeling of a life or death situation unless you're in it. And unfortunately, I've been in those situations a lot, and I'm getting worked up thinking about it right now, just talking about it. I've been a security professional for a long time now. Started off in the Marine Corps. I got injured pretty bad and throughout my service, and I got out. I went in with the VA. They filled me up with every prescription I could ever want and need, right? It turns out I didn't want or need any of them, and being that I used cannabis to help me get through a lot of stuff, all the prescription drugs that the VA was giving me were just turning me into a zombie, and it helped me get through it. It was that little edge that I needed to be able to overcome those, the hardship of withdrawal and getting off all these medications that were just thrown at me. There's such an epidemic of veterans that get hooked on all these drugs because the VA has no other choice but to give them strong narcotics for these serious ailments that they have. I became a pretty strong advocate for cannabis, and it's something that I believe helped me get through some difficult times. I was approached by a couple of my friends. They asked me to start transporting, and they didn't have much training in the field of secure transport with high-value items. It was absolutely one of the hardest things that I've ever taken upon myself. We didn't really have there weren't any rules really for transport. The only rules that we really had to follow were our manifests, which is the most dangerous thing when it comes to transport, because the metric system, you have seed to sale tracking. Worried me was that you have to put your entire route down, you have to put pretty much up to the minute. You can't diverge from the route, and they want you to be there within 15 minutes of your destination, of your designated time. And that's kind of hard when your first delivery is through a national park, through blizzards and black ice. And I started driving once a week, pretty much the length of Alaska, or at least down to the Kenai Peninsula, with hundreds of thousands of dollars of cannabis, stopping at every retail outside of Fairbanks, down to the Kenai Peninsula, through Wasilla, Anchorage. I would have been able to do it with a firearm, but it was a risk too big for me to take. When you're driving down Parks Highway, you got a 30-minute window where you don't have cell phone service. We don't have any contact with anybody, right? Or at least when I started, when I was driving on my own, with hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash and cannabis products, and being on a manifest. It was something that I believe was completely necessary because of the high risk, the high value of the things that we had on us. We didn't have any support. I mean, if the opportunity arises, people take advantage of it. And especially if you know the people down the street don't have any weapons to defend themselves, and they have something that you want or something that you need, they're gonna come and take it. From what I know, there's one state trooper that runs from here to Healy, which is 100 miles down the road, back and forth on this road. So if something happened to me, if something happened, I would I'd be alone for a long time.
Can you blame veterans who are dealing with chronic conditions for seeking alternatives to narcotics like cannabis, only to face legal questions about lawful gun ownership? With everything going on, we want to hear from you. Do you think there's something wrong with the laws pertaining to cannabis and firearms ownership? This is a tremendously complex matter, so please comment down below. Want to know when it's legal to draw your gun? Click the video right next to me to reveal a detailed explanation from a former police officer and competitive shooter.